Hello, I'm Farrell, this is Tally, and we are bored of it. And today we're going to be reviewing Voyages, a print-to-play roll and write we've played a lot of recently and we thought really deserves some attention. And also the designers of that game currently have a Kickstarter live for their second game, which is also a print-to-play roll and write at the same time, so it worked out quite well. But it was probably not the first print-to-play roll and write ever on Kickstarter, but it was certainly the first one I saw. And what really grabbed me about the campaign was just how professionally done it was. It was very well produced, it looked very well supported, and just the campaign was really up to the standard of, like a $100 big box of plastic type game. And even though now this kind of subgenre has exploded in popularity on Kickstarter, I've still never really seen another campaign anywhere near the standard of Voyages.
Yep, and in Voyages, you play as a ship on a voyage. As you would expect with a roll and write, you will be throwing some dice and then using the results to move around the map and complete ship duties. Now we would like to note, and we will continue to note, that this game only costs £4 Great British pounds, which we personally think is an outstanding price, particularly because as of filming this review, there are 5 different maps you can play with, and each one has a completely different feel. So you'll first need to pick the map that you want to play. Ideally for your first game, this is map 1, Trade Winds Blow. Then you need to obtain the map, and you can either do this by printing it so that you have a physical copy, or play digitally on a computer or tablet with a drawing feature. You'll also need 3 regular 6-sided dice and some pens. Each turn you'll roll the dice and use the results. 2 of the dice are used for moving your ship on the map, so one sets the direction and one sets how many spaces you're going to move. The last one is used for ship duties, which is usually some kind of mini game in classic roll and write style, where you check off some boxes and get some rewards.
Now, each map has its own gimmick. Map 1 will have you collecting trade goods, map 2 will see you fighting marauders, map 3 will have you observing sea monsters, map 4 will turn you into a pyromaniac as you go around lighting fires, and map 5 will let you have a little boat race while also looking for sunken treasure. And what's interesting is that in each one of these maps, the duties that you can do change, and they become a different kind of integral mechanism to what's going on. Now, the core of each game you'll play, no matter what the map, is essentially sailing around the map using the dice you roll and interacting with the islands and icons and actions that are available on that map. And this is because different actions and kind of different activities are going to give you gold at the end of the game. And so obviously you want to do as much as you can. Now the game's going to end when somebody gets 3 legendary stars, which you can get by doing really well on these activities, or perhaps by being in the right spot on the map.
Okay, so what do we like? Well, firstly, and here it is again, the price, especially for what you get. This isn't something that some random pleb just threw up on Kickstarter. This is a professionally done roll and write. Voyages is excellently designed and consistently presents players with a really engaging puzzle. It's a real delight to figure out how to get to where you want to go, or to figure out the best use of the dice based on your current location. But there's also flexibility in the design, so players don't get stuck too often with bad dice rolls. Players can exhaust a sailor to change a die to plus or minus 1 the current number, or change it to any number by upgrading their sailors to heroic. And the game generously starts you with 6 sailors.
What I really love about Voyages is the beginning of the turn, when you roll the dice and you look at the numbers, and then you compare them to the windlass and you figure out the direction you can go, how far you can go, what number do you need for duties. And then you also consider which of the many activities you want to go for. It's a nice puzzle to go through and to try and process in your mind. It's very engaging, and it also kind of adds to the replayability, because there are a lot of different activities to go for on each map, and you won't be able to do all of them in one game, which means you have replayability for each map. Then you multiply that by the number of maps there are and the fact that there might be more in the future. And there is a lot of content to go through here.
None of the maps have been duds, and each one changes the core rule set in a different and interesting way. Like in map 2, where you have to use unexhausted sailors to battle, so you have to be much more careful with how you use them. Or in map 3, where your ship will take on damage as you track these legendary sea monsters, and you have to be much more on point with your ship duties, otherwise you take on penalties. Each map is interesting thematically and explores a different element of seafaring, and the designers have done a great job at creating some really fun gameplay around this. We are in general really impressed with how they can alter the experience map to map, but keeping the core turn structure exactly the same.
Lastly, the negatives. There aren't really any negatives. I mean, you could say that there is low player interaction, but I mean, it's a roll and write that kind of comes with the territory. We will say that the only real annoyance with having gameplay is the fact that if you go to the edge of the map, you can end up becoming stuck there by bad rolls and perhaps for multiple turns. And it's a bit frustrating to get stuck there and be forced to use multiple sailors at once, or maybe you don't even have sailors. And this is because at the edge of the map, you can't go off, and depending where you are, 3 of the directions might be kind of out of play for you. But the counterpoint to that is it doesn't happen often, and £4. Final thoughts. If you like roll and writes, then get this game. Might not be the best roll and write of all time, but it's certainly an exceptionally good roll and write that has a lot of content to keep you coming back. And we have genuinely enjoyed our time playing it. Now, if you don't like roll and writes, it's not going to change your mind. And if you are unsure if you like roll and writes, then this is the best way you could possibly learn if you like them.
Yep, and pro tip, just print it out and laminate it, and that way you can use it more than once and it's somehow more fun. That was our review of Voyages, and we really just wanted to give it a little shout out. You can buy it from their website, which is postmarkgames.com. And also just to note that they have a Kickstarter for their current game live at the moment. That's called Aquamarine, and that's also worth checking out. So we really hope that you enjoyed this review. Please give us a thumbs up if you did. Please feel free to ask us any questions about the game in the comments. Let us know if you've played Voyages and what you think. And thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.